It's issue 5, it's the last issue of the volume. I'm going to read it, I'm going to review it, and then I'm going to look at the whole thing all together. Here we go. Welcome to Comic Club, welcome to the read and review series of Die Volume 1 Fantasy Heartbreaker. We're going to be looking at the last issue, issue 5 or chapter 5. This book has been written by Kieron Gillen and drawn by, I've got it here, Stephanie Hans. Overall, I've been really enjoying this book. 5 issues altogether. We're on the last one, chapter 5, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing where it goes from here, because what happened last time was that all of our characters made it to Glasstown, where they think they could find Solomon and make a deal with him, or do something to convince him to come back home. It turns out that he isn't there, and the path to get to him involves them trying to get 3 keys, I think it was. Bear with me, where is it? Yeah, they have to get 3 keys in 3 different places, but because of their real world life going back happening on Earth, they have to think around the situation because they haven't got the time, pretty much. So at the very end of the issue, Ash decides that they should try and destroy Glasstown, the town that Solomon made. So if he likes it so much, then we'll destroy it. That's the kind of thing they were going for. We did learn some little bits about the characters. We learned more about Matt's past and his daughter and his mother. We learned about Isabel and a little bit more into how her abilities and power works. And how she kind of owes gods back. Maybe we'll learn in the future. If she depends on what god she uses, depends on how she owes them back. That kind of thing. Maybe we'll learn about that. And we also learned that Angela can manifest a cool little dog called Case, but she doesn't like to bring him back too often because at the end of the day she has to watch him die. So that is quite sad, but maybe we'll see him in action in this next issue. The last issue was quite a bit of a filler where we did learn a lot about the characters. But now I'm hoping that this last issue of the volume is going to bring everything together. I'm just going to have some good action, some good dialogue, some good story, and I'm hoping some fantastic art. And so that's what I'm hoping for. I'm going to go ahead and read. Here is the cover. It's a cover of Isabel holding her spiky hammer. Looks like a big meat hammer. So that looks really good. So at chapter 5, there's a quote on every issue, and this one says, "I'm very sorry, Mr. Tumnus," said Lucy, "but please let me go home." From C.S. Lewis, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. This issue is called Premise Rejection. And I'm gonna go ahead and read this now. Hopefully it'll be as good as I'm hoping. If you've got the book, if you haven't read this yet, do make sure to read along with me and message me in the comments to see if you agree or disagree, and we'll have a chat about it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, press the notification bell, and share it with your friends. But I'm gonna read this now, chapter 5. Really looking forward to it. Here we go. Okay, that was finished. That was very cool. Not the kind of action I was expecting, but I'm glad that they did what they did. Really cool, great ending to that. And it does set it up for a lot more, and I can see why there is a Die Volume 2 already out. But yeah, let's start from the beginning. It starts as a quick flashback with Sol and Ash. Sol had built like a really cool castle, and Ash was like, "Oh, this is really cool. I can't believe you've done this. What should we build next?" And Sol goes, "No, it's finished. So it's all done, and like, so it tells you straight away that once he's made something, he doesn't want to get rid of it. He doesn't like it being played with or messed with. He just likes it as it is. So this kind of sets up the whole thing for Glasstown being destroyed, and it wasn't as destructive as I thought it would be, but it was still very cool. What happens is Ash takes control using her dictator spells, her speech, takes control of someone quite powerful, and he orders everyone in Glasstown to say that Lady Isabel has ordered everyone to go to the Temple of the Mourner. It's mandatory, everyone has to go, and basically they're calling everyone there just to keep them safe while they destroy Glasstown, pretty much, because they don't want to injure anyone, they just want to get Sol here. So what they do, Angela goes to the Eternal Prussia, which is a very dark, metallic, grimy, dusty, foggy, dirty place, where before there were people living on Die World. They were basically like robots. They call them like toy soldiers. There's pure. They use like pure math all the time, and what Angela does, she kind of infiltrates this kind of base, hacks into these robots, and tells them to attack Glasstown. So then all of these metallic dragons fly off to Glasstown, and they're on their way to destroy the town. But before that, they have to get the shields down. So Ash and Matt, the Grief Knight, they find the core of the town, and it's like, how do I describe it? It's just like a floating see-through 20-sided dice. Looks quite magical. It's being guarded by some golems, and Matt actually asks Ash to make him sad, because once she makes him sad, he gets all this power and he can basically do anything. So he asks her to make him sad, and she says, children with no father, wife with no husband, no explanation, no resolution, forever. And then that tips him over, and then he's able to destroy all this stuff. And as soon as he destroys that floating core, the dice core, the dome, the glass diced shape dome falls down, it smashes to bits, and these dragons are now able to enter Glasstown and destroy it. But the reason why Isabel called everyone to the temple was so she could keep everyone safe, and what she did was she called upon a god called the Sky Watcher, and I think by the sounds of it, he's got a soft spot for like peasants. She makes him aware. She makes the Sky Watcher aware that all this is happening, and he says, "The bloody rich can't stomp on the bloody peasants like this. It's a bloody outrage. You brought this to my attention, Izzy. I'll remember it. I owe you." So he wants to save the peasants and everyone. So he then grants Isabel power to open up a portal for everyone to move through. And as they finally do go through, it's then these dragons start to destroy the town. Then Sol appears, and he's like, "What have you done? I built this for you. You're so ungrateful." He's basically saying, "You're ruining the game." So it's going back to that flashback with the castle, saying, like, you're ruining what I built. And I think that's very clever. And it talks a lot about his personality. At the end of the day, he is a dungeon master kind of thing. He makes the rules. He doesn't like people coming off his track. People follow it this way. If you go off, you won't be very happy with it, and you can tell from this point. And because he is this kind of like, he is the Grandmaster, he is the DM, you learn that his power is to make the rules and change the rules. So first things first, he says anything that flies now freezes. So everything, all the dragons in the sky have now frozen in place. And before Ash can talk, he says no dictatorship during daytime in Glasstown. So this now means that her dictatorship powers, she cannot talk her way out of things. They won't work in the daytime, only in the nighttime. And then this whole little battle happens, and Angela uses herself as a distraction, and as he's about to go and attack her, her dog Case comes and hits him down, like kind of like electrocutes him as he's bitten. So Saul is down at this point, and this isn't something I didn't notice in the entire book, was Ash says she's been paying attention. There was a knight with empty eye sockets, which was in like issue 1 or 2, I think it was 1. The little Englander with molten eyes, and the golems who we just met with the core, they also had no eyes. So it's basically his way of telling everyone how afraid he was, but now they're all there to save him, to take him home, to finish all this. He doesn't want to go. He wants to stay. He wants everyone to stay. This is his game. He made everything for his friends, pretty much. But he kind of twists. He gets this massive surge of power, and there's only one way to stop him. And this is when you realise Ash has like another little power up her sleeve, and she calls it the death touch. Basically, her arm gets engulfed in flames, and she can just kill anyone she wants with it. And she kills Saul. Saul is now dead. Everyone is horrified at what Ash has done, but she says, I will do anything to get back. Saul's gone. Now the party is unanimous. We can now go home. So everyone starts to make the wish, and they all say the game is over. The game is over and over again. And then Chuck realizes that, he doesn't want to go. He's got all this cool stuff. One thing that he was particularly happy about that he could do in this world was the fact that he could do pull-ups, which is, it isn't a great thing to stay in this world for, considering what else is in the real world, but this is why he wanted to stay. But Angela, she's got kids, but she doesn't want to stay just because she has her arm back. She wants to go back for her kids. But Izzy doesn't want to go because she doesn't have any kids. She's a teacher and no one listens to her. Her father's silent. Her mother loathes her. She says she doesn't even have a cat. So everyone's got their reasons to want to stay and want to go. But it turns out that they said that they would treat everyone in this game like they're real. So they're basically they've created a humanitarian disaster, pretty much. So there's kind of like a guns pointing at everyone kind of situation, and it turns out that it's Isabel and Chuck that don't want to go, and then Ash, Matt and Angela that do want to go. So Izzy calls on her favour from the Skywatcher pretty quickly and teleports herself and Chuck away. We don't know where they've gone, but they're just gone. So it's just those three left now. And then in the background you hear some kind of mumbling, and Saul has now turned into a fallen. And we also learn about why people become fallen. And to become a fallen, you must be a real person in the game who comes from the real world into die, and then dies. So if anyone who is killed in the game, they will die and they will become a fallen. But then Saul reveals that if a fallen person wants to live again, they have to kill the players that killed them. So that's why there are so many fallen after them all the time. And that's pretty much it. It's so as he's about to attack Ash, to try to get his life back, but Angela locks him down with her kind of life hacking, and but he can still talk, and he says, what does he say? It's something about the fact that they have to kill all of the fallen people first before they can go home. And it says, and Ash says, if they all die, we can go home. And Sol, as the fallen, says, die, still lying, not the word, never was. The word is murder. So it kind of brings it, this kind of realism, you know, they're not just in a game, they haven't just been killing NPCs, they've been killing real life people, they've been murdering real life people, and that's how the issue ends. It's just this, it's now this realization that they have just been murdering people, and maybe that adds on to the kind of trauma they had when they first came back when they were kids. But for now, we don't know. But yeah, so let's look into the rest. Well, okay. So this so this says here at the end of this, it says die the RPG. So Kieron Gillen, the writer, has he's written a role-playing game, and it's available at www.diecomic.com/RPG, but it is a beta version, so just bear that in mind. I think it's a tabletop. Yeah, I think it is. It's quite a lot to read. I'm not going to do that just yet. But let's take a look at some of the variant covers. There's one there, Angela looking very nice. What we got? We've got Sol on the left, we've got Isabel here, looking great. Oh wow. And then we've got one there, Matt as the Grief Knight. Who was that? Oh, I think that's one of the army men that we read about in issue 4. That was issue 3, sorry, issue 3. And yeah, so we're going to go into the arty part. And I'm going to show you some panels that I really liked, some bits of art that I really liked, and then we will come back and I will talk to you about the volume as a whole. See you in a second. So, as an overall story, I really enjoyed this. The first couple of issues started off a bit slow, but I realised that this isn't, even though this is an RPG based comic, it's not full of action, and I don't think it should be. It is. Let's see. It's emotional. It takes its time. It gets to where it wants to be, and it's just good. You know, the amount of stuff you go through in such, you know, in 5 issues, you meet a lot of characters, a lot of people. There's a lot of action in it, and you know, you're constantly learning about everyone's powers, about what they can do, what they're capable of. You know, you've seen places. In Prussia and Glasstown and the area they landed in, that I don't think that had a name. It's really good at being able to give you like references from the past. There are a lot of references from the past in this book. I nearly said game then, in this game, but it all just goes towards you know, the whole story of it and the character development of everyone, and yeah. So sorry, I'm just flicking back through here then, and in issue 2 you meet loads of like fallen characters, and after learning that you know, the fallen are real people trying to get their lives back, it puts a bit of morbidness into the situation. You know, are these people that, you know, this team killed years ago and now they've finally come back to try and get their lives back? We don't know. But yeah, this book was great. I mean, I'm a big fan of RPGs anyway. I am myself a dungeon master for a Dungeons and Dragons group, and this was just really cool. I'm not gonna lie, this has given me some ideas to put in my own games for my friends. And you know, each character is different. It's all done really well. They've all got their own little stories, their own little backstories, like their lives on Earth, like and how this world is going to affect that. It's just, yeah, overall this is a great book. I know I had an issue with a couple issues, but now, as expected, after reading the entire book, I get it all. It's great, loved it. I'm going to go on to some ratings for this issue, not the whole volume, just the issue. Let's see. So for the story, really good ending. I'm glad it wasn't an ending that I usually see. So my issue with a lot of endings is that I usually prefer the issue before, because that's when all the cool stuff happens. And then the last issue doesn't really have that much action. It's just more of a, you know, rounding up everything, tying up all the loose knots. But this was good. This kept up the pace. It had its action. Everything that I wanted to happen did happen and more. I've decided my favourite character is Izzy, just for her kind of the Godbinder powers. All of that is awesome. I've never seen anything like that before, and I love it. It's really great. So whoever came up with that idea, Kieron Gillen, Stephanie Hans, anyone else in that team, that's awesome. I love that. So story, loved it. I'm going to give it a 9.5. Really good. Art as well. Fight scenes are done really well. You can see here on this page. It's all... You can see the intensity of it, the movement, the fast movement of it all, and some of the other panels you've got the stillness of it all, and it's all done really well. Colours are awesome. You've got some really good blues and reds and oranges, and the purples. Like in this one here with the Skywatcher, you've got the blues going into purples, and it's just that kind of softness with the gradients. It's just all great. Paneling is awesome. Art is awesome. It's just all done really well. Lettering is great. Yeah, fantastic. Again, that's going to be a 9 for me. And then development. This story, we've learned so much. We've learned that, what have we learned? Jeez. Okay, so the main bits are Izzy and Chuck have now disbanded from the rest of the group, so it's Izzy and Chuck on their own, and it's Ash, Matt and Angela as a group as well. And I think the biggest thing that we learned, so this actually means that they're not going home. We have to read some more to learn if they're going to go home or not, and then what happens, what happens when they go home. If they're too late, what happens to their lives then. But we also learned about the Fallen. So everyone who is Fallen has been murdered. The actual people from Earth who have come into this game, and they're now dead, trying to get their lives back. And yeah, I think it's just great. So again, I'm going to give that quite a high score. That's going to go for an 8.5 as well. So story for this issue, 9.5. Art, 9. Development, 8.5. That is awesome. I am going to be ordering the next book. Where did I order this book from? I ordered this from Silver Acre. They have their own website. They have an eBay page. I prefer to get my books secondhand, which is what I did. And Silver Acre was the only person I bought from that actually bagged this book, and I was really impressed with it. I wanted to give them a shout out. I've shouted them out in the first issue, and I'm doing it again now because I like them that much. And I will be buying from them again. So if they have Die Volume 2, I will be getting it from them. And any other book, to be fair. But yes, I have loved this. This has been Die Volume 1, titled Fantasy Heartbreaker, written by Kieron Gillen, art by Stephanie Hans. I'll call out the rest of the team. Lettering by Clayton Cowles, designer Ryan Hughes and the editor Chrissy Williams. That was a great book. Thank you so much for making it so I can read it, and I'm very much looking forward to getting into volume 2. But that's been me. We're done. I am going to be looking at Something is Killing the Children volume 1 next. So if that is interesting to you, it's made by Boom Studios. Go ahead and look at it. It's a brand new volume. It's just come out and I cannot wait to read it. It's going to be really cool. So if you want to read along with me in the read and reviews, please do buy the book in preparation, and we'll read it together. But that's it from me. You've been watching Comic Club. We've done a 5-episode read and review of Die Volume 1. I've been Scott. Hope you're okay. Have a good week. I'll see you next week. Bye.